Have you ever had that strange feeling, like there's a part of the world that will never make sense? You know, like some things just don't fit together, no matter how much we try to explain them? It's scary to think about it, but what if I told you that the 10 greatest unsolved mysteries in human history might already have been solved, just not in the way you imagine? I know, it sounds absurd. It sounds like something out of a cheap conspiracy theory, the kind we hear and laugh about. But, what if it isn't? What if what we've always believed to be unanswered mysteries already has a terrible, shocking, even chilling explanation, just hidden from us? Think about it. For centuries, humanity has clung to questions that never had a clear answer. What happened in the Bermuda Triangle? Who really built the pyramids of Egypt? What lay behind the secrets of Stonehenge? Or even, why did so many civilizations disappear without a trace, as if they had evaporated from the face of the earth? These enigmas have shaped not only our curiosity, but also our culture, our fears, and even our favorite horror movies. But here's the scary part. What if, suddenly, all these mysteries already had an answer? What if we simply weren't prepared to hear the truth? I know, it seems unbelievable. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever stopped to think about what this really means? If each of these enigmas had a logical explanation, or worse, an explanation we don't want to accept, how would that change the way we see the world? Sounds strange, right? Because deep down, we want answers. We hate not knowing. But, would we have the courage to face reality if it were revealed before our eyes? Just imagine, you grow up hearing that there's an unsolvable mystery, something that defies science, logic, and history. And then, suddenly, someone shows you that not only does an answer exist, but that it's so horrific, so disturbing, that perhaps it would have been better never to have discovered it. It's chilling just thinking about it. And look, I'm not exaggerating, because every time someone gets too close to the truth, something seems to happen. Witnesses disappear, documents vanish, voices are silenced. Coincidence? I don't know, but don't you find it surreal that, in the 21st century, with all the technology we have, there are still such huge secrets hidden from us? And here's my promise to you, stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you a detail, a piece of this puzzle, that could completely change the way you see these mysteries. Something that will turn a corner in your mind, something you might even prefer not to know. Because, in the end, the question is no longer whether these 10 mysteries have been solved. The real question is, are we prepared to deal with the answer? Okay, let me give you a better understanding of all this. When I talk about the 10 greatest unsolved mysteries in the world, I'm not making up some random list just to shock you. These enigmas really exist, have been studied for centuries, and to this day, they fuel books, documentaries, theories, and even nightmares. The craziest thing is that they're not isolated. They're not just distant stories, like urban legends we tell to scare ourselves. They're connections. Pieces of the same puzzle that, when you start putting them together, form a disturbing picture. And that's exactly why the question, have they been solved yet, is so powerful. Because if one of them has an answer, the others probably do too. And then, my friend, the entire narrative we know about human history can start to crumble. Want an example? Let's talk about one of the most famous mysteries of all, the Bermuda Triangle. That stretch of ocean between Miami, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda that became synonymous with unexplained disappearances. Ships vanished there, planes disappeared, entire crews, never seen again. For decades, it was treated as supernatural. Portals to other dimensions, attacks by unknown beings, strange magnetic fields, even alien abductions. But the truth may be quite different, and even more frightening. Recent research has revealed something shocking. In that region, there are enormous deposits of methane hydrates, a substance that, when released, can create gigantic gas bubbles capable of swallowing entire ships. It sounds too scientific, almost technical, I know. But think about it, a ship is sailing, suddenly the ocean beneath it loses density because of these bubbles, and within seconds, the hull no longer has support. The result? The ship sinks as if sucked into an invisible mouth. And airplanes? The same methane released into the air can cause engine failures, explosions, and total loss of control. Scary, isn't it? Because that means there's no supernatural mystery at all, just a force of nature capable of destroying everything silently, without a trace. But here's the chilling part. If the explanation is so simple, why hasn't this been told openly, clearly, definitively to this day? Is the truth not interesting enough for the media? Or is there something else, something that continues to be hidden? And that's where things get strange, because when you look at the old documents, the reports of pilots and captains, these aren't just normal sinkings. Many describe bizarre lights in the sky, compasses going haywire, absurd radio interference. As if there were something beyond the too scientific explanation. And then I ask you, do you really believe it's just methane? Or could it be that this is just the visible fragment of something much larger? Because deep down, doesn't it seem too surreal that one of humanity's greatest mysteries can be reduced to a chemical reaction? I don't know about you, but to me that sounds more like a convenient explanation, a way to calm our curiosity and cover up what really happens in that region. And that, my friend, is just the first mystery. It's just the first piece we take a closer look at, and honestly, I already find it terrifying enough to imagine ships being swallowed by the sea itself as if they were disposable toys. But, you know that feeling that there's still something hidden behind the curtain? Yeah. The Bermuda Triangle is just the tip of the iceberg. What comes next is much crazier, much more absurd, and could change the way you understand the history of the entire world. Now, if the Bermuda Triangle is already hair-raising, wait until you hear this. Because there are mysteries that don't just involve disappearances, but also impossible constructions. Things that have been before our eyes for thousands of years, and that, to this day, no one has been able to definitively explain. And I'm talking, of course, about the pyramids of Egypt. Man, think about it, stone blocks weighing tons, cut with absurd precision, aligned with specific constellations in the sky, all this over 4,000 years ago. And the question that won't leave your mind is simple: how? How did an ancient people, without modern machines, without cranes, without computers, manage to erect one of the most perfect and gigantic structures in human history? The official explanation is always the same: human power, thousands of workers, rudimentary techniques. But, I don't know if you've ever felt this, doesn't it seem a little simplistic? As if they were trying to force a ready-made answer down our throats, without actually answering anything? And that's where the comparisons that make us shudder begin. Because, look, the Pyramid of Khufu in Giza has its base aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal points. The error? Less than half a degree. And to this day, modern architects and engineers struggle to achieve something similar with this level of precision. Now I ask you, does it make sense that a civilization thousands of years ago had this knowledge, and then simply forgot it? It's almost absurd to imagine. And you know what's worse? Recent discoveries have shown that, beneath the pyramids, there are hidden chambers, secret spaces that have never been opened to this day. Some scientists believe they may simply be technical chambers, used to lighten the structure's weight. Others, however, suspect that there may lie the key to truly understanding how and why these buildings were built. What if within these chambers lies a truth so shocking, so disturbing, that it simply cannot be revealed to the public? Isn't that why no one is allowed to explore further? And then I ask you again, have you ever stopped to think about what this really means? What if the pyramids weren't just tombs, but something much greater? Some kind of message, or even ancient technology, left by someone who knew things we still can't comprehend? Look, I'm not saying it was aliens, although that's one of the most popular theories. But think about it, if it wasn't them, then who was? Who mastered mathematics, astronomy, and engineering at this insane level thousands of years ago? And here comes the chilling detail: many different civilizations around the world, at completely different times, built pyramids. In Egypt, Mexico, China, even in remote places like Bosnia. Why this global obsession with the same geometric shape? Coincidence? Or were they all responding to the same call, the same universal secret that was lost to time? It's too frightening to imagine this, because it means there might be an invisible connection connecting these cultures, something never told in history books. What's more, some researchers claim that the pyramids aren't just monuments, but machines. Yes, you heard right, energy machines. The shape, the position, the materials, all of this could be part of a gigantic mechanism, designed to channel energy from Earth or even the cosmos. I know, it sounds insane, but when you add up all the details, astronomical alignment, millimeter precision, repetition of the same shape all over the world, it becomes hard not to believe there's something hidden there. And I want you to remember one thing: if the pyramids really do hide secrets of this magnitude, then the story we learned in school may be completely wrong. Because it's not about blocks of stone anymore. It's about something that could redefine everything we know about humanity. And the craziest part? That's still nothing. Because the next mystery on our list is even more terrifying. A mystery that isn't set in stone, but lives on in humanity's memory, like an open wound that never healed. And now we reach the most tense point of this journey, the climax. Because if up until now we've talked about ships swallowed by the sea and pyramids that could be machines hidden in the middle of the desert, the next mystery is different. It's not just historical or scientific, it's human. And perhaps it's the most frightening of all precisely for that reason. I'm talking about the disappearance of entire civilizations. People who simply vanished overnight, leaving behind giant cities, temples, tools, but no trace of what really happened. The Mayans, for example, a highly advanced civilization, with astronomical knowledge that still leaves experts speechless. And suddenly, silence. As if someone had pressed a button and erased millions of people from history. And then the theories begin: famine, internal wars, climate change. But look, none of this completely explains it. Because it's not just the Mayans. The Anasazi, in North America. The builders of Nan Madol, in Micronesia. The inhabitants of Mohenjo-Daro, in the Indus Valley. Various peoples, in various parts of the world, disappearing in absurd, almost synchronized fashion. And here's the chilling part: many of these abandoned sites bear signs of something terrible. Mohenjo-Daro, for example, has ruins with marks that some scientists believe are from an explosion of nuclear proportions. That's right. As if thousands of years ago an event capable of carbonizing stone and melting bricks had occurred. Something that, officially, humanity only learned about in the 20th century. And then, inevitably, the question arises: how? How could an ancient people have access to something so devastating? Did they discover forces we still don't understand? Or, did someone show them? Scary, right? Because it challenges everything we think we know about our own history. And when you connect the dots, the puzzle begins to form. The Bermuda Triangle revealing hidden forces of nature, or perhaps something even greater. The pyramids revealing knowledge and technologies that defy logic. Entire civilizations disappearing as if erased, or as if taken away. It's as if humanity is always stumbling upon secrets it shouldn't know. And when it gets too close, something terrible happens. Now tell me, have you ever stopped to think about what this really means? Are we the first to ask these questions? Or have there been others before us who discovered answers and paid dearly for it? And if it were you, would you have the courage to face the truth, even if it were horrible? I know, it's shocking, it's chilling, and perhaps that's precisely why these mysteries continue to exist. Not because there's no answer, but because perhaps the answer is too terrible to reveal. And look, if you've made it this far with me, it means you're like me, someone who doesn't settle for the obvious, someone who wants to go further. So, let me summarize what we saw today. The Bermuda Triangle isn't just a dot in the ocean, it's a living enigma that blends science and the inexplicable. The pyramids aren't just tombs, they're codes in stone, messages that have spanned millennia. And the vanished civilizations aren't just torn pages from history, they're warnings that humanity may be playing with forces it can't control. And you know what the craziest part is? What I showed you today is still just the beginning. Because there are other mysteries, other secrets, that could change everything again. But that, we'll save for the next video. So here's what you need to do: if this content touched you, if it gave you goosebumps, I want you to leave a like below. Write in the comments which of these mysteries most kept you awake, I'll read each one. And of course, subscribe to the channel, because in the next video I'll reveal a hidden detail that could connect all these enigmas together. You won't want to miss it. Trust me.